Welcome to the Hot Box, a soapbox for hot topics.
And we're live. Yeah. I'm here with Matthew Jerabek from Algonquin College. He's an impact coordinator. This is really kind of the first time we're meeting, and thanks for being on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I really like your space here that you have.
Yeah. So I thought the first thing is just part of getting to know each other. Tell me a little bit about like what you're doing at the college, your kind of job, and what sort of cool stuff you guys are working on.
Sure. So really at the college, I started as the website coordinator, doing social media. I was the one-man marketing office for the research department, if that makes any sense, which is a very hot topic, I'd say, right now. There's a lot of small businesses that are, hey, you have all this. I need all the skills. You have every single one of them. Can you write copy? Can you do all of that? Can you make videos? Can you edit audio? So it was a really good place because I studied interactive media design, which was coding and video and graphic design, and I'm a musician in my past, so I knew the audio stuff, and it basically led me into, okay, I can take on a little more, I can do a little more of this, I'll hire someone else to help me with some of the graphic work so that I can, step up and do other things. Some of those things that I stepped into are more of the PR, so dealing with government relations, doing outreach, like these types of things.
Right.
And then finally I decided, one day I really want to do Makerspace stuff. That's something that I've been very, very passionate about throughout my own personal life for the past 8 years or so. And so we were making a Makerspace at Algonquin College, and I knocked on my director's door and said, hey, what's going on with that? How can I get involved? And she said, well, if you want to take it on in addition to what you do, that's great, let's do it. And it's my happy place at the college right now, so I'm really glad I did. Working very hard, but loving what you do, it's okay, it's great.
And I'd say that's, being a Youth Ottawa podcast, really the mission for us is to make youth remarkable and give them the opportunity. So that's good advice, wouldn't you say? Like,
absolutely.
Find something that you're passionate in, and you'll never work a day in your life.
Absolutely, that's the whole idea. Like, I'm, putting in 12 hours a day or more, but I actually go to bed really happy, and I wake up in the morning raring to go. So awesome. There's a fine balance there that doesn't have to be time versus money all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's super cool. Tell me a little bit more about the Makerspace. Like, what sort of trouble can you get into in that?
You can get into all kinds of mischief. Let's not say trouble, because I don't want people getting into trouble at the Makerspace. But mischief for sure. What it is make the maker movement in general, just in case people aren't aware of the maker movement, it started out as a way for people who were doing a lot of coding and that kind of thing to get into making things with their hands.
Right.
And I studied cabinet making at Algonquin a while ago, and so that led me into, hey, how can I help people learn? And so I started working at a place called the OCW, which is the Ottawa City Wood Shop, and it's really close here, and I still supervise there on Mondays, and it's really fun.
Right on.
But all of that, then I was a cabinet maker, and I got out of it, and then becoming into the idea of the digital making. So I started physically making things, then digitally making things with interactive media design, and then that is where that space has landed. So it kind of came out of a little bit of my history and what I saw as the maker movement should be more about making in general, getting an idea and manifesting it in any way possible, and being able to story tell that idea. So even if you're just making a pitch deck, you're still making something. It doesn't have to be the prototype.
Right.
And that's what I want to enable in the Makerspace. So to get all the way back around to answer your question is that in the Makerspace there are 3D printers, there are VR headsets, an Oculus and a Vive, so you can test the waters. There are different tablets from Android as well as Mac or iMacs and iPads.
Right.
So you can sort of get an idea and put it out there and see whether it's going to work in one way, shape, or form. And then it builds community and something called creative collisions, which basically when you break down the silos in an establishment and you get people who are engineers, people who are artists, people who are in the dental program, and they're all in this room like, I want to know about 3D printers, and they're all being exposed to these new ideas that they never thought of. It leads to a huge expanse in what even people thought were possible in those realms.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. We have a board that's just a whiteboard, and we get people to write down the new ideas that they have, or because somebody stops and they go, oh, what would be really cool from a conversation that's already happening? And it's like, okay, don't even say that out loud. Go write it on the board. And the reason for that is that this book called Making Ideas Happen A fantastic book, and a lot of creatives have trouble with actually executing on ideas. They write them down and they're done. Or they don't even write them down, they just say them. Write them down if you're not writing them down. That's a big thing. But that means that you now see that. Next time you walk into the space, you see that idea that's still living there. Has someone picked it up? Have you picked it up? Is it moving anywhere?
So it's kind of like an open source
lab,
right?
Yeah, exactly. And then it also puts ownership, even if you're not putting your name underneath the idea, you still see it every day as opposed to not, and having it disappear into the realm of, into the abyss, let's call it. Right?
Even if it's just people picking up the conversation again to further
to
it,
talk
right?
to talk about it. And it does happen very regularly. Just let's talk about something, and it leads into, hey, let's just prove it or not, which is great. And then the idea of ideation, so taking an idea from a comment out loud to writing it down onto a board to holding a physical prototype to selling one of them, and that can happen. I've seen that happen in the Makerspace within 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how old is this Makerspace? Like
September 4th, 2018 is the opening
so
date.
It's pretty new.
It's brand new. I will say it's pretty low budget at the moment, although the community has been incredibly kind in donating things. So even though we have a very low budget, I'm really just paying for staffing. I have 3D printers times 5. We have a Vive headset, an Oculus headset. We have a vinyl cutter, and all of those things are prosumer quality. So they're not the base level, but they're not the highest level.
I'd say that's
It's good.
good.
Yeah, it's good. Very good. So it's been I will say a huge thank you to everyone who did donate those things. It's fantastic, and we're looking to do more of that.
So now, is this like for those youth or anyone watching this for that matter? Like, is that open to like the public, or do you have to be a student? Or how does that work?
Great question, Jesse. So no, it is the one place I would say the whole point of it is that it's open for every single person. So when I say no, I mean yes. But the idea being that anyone can come in there. I've had my sister in there, I've had my mom, my dad, everyone, and I'm like, you better make something if you're sitting here. I'm not just going to let you come and take a look. You know, you better do something. Find something you want to 3D print, and I think that's really important because it allows different levels of skill sets. So if you're just within the college and you're only making it for students, there's a bunch of beginners. Perhaps not every student is a beginner, but a lot of times, they're just learning their skill. Where does the mentorship come from? Where does that come from? So if you have people who are, this is my third business and I, just want to prototype something, they're going to be standing in the same area being, what do you think? And it's just really energizing. It's fantastic.
So, I mean, this place sounds amazing. I want to go try it out.
Awesome.
It's open to people, like you said.
Open to everyone.
So one thing I want to ask you is what do you feel like in this day with technology where it is? Are we as a society kind of moving away from using our hands, and do you think we long for that kind of physical contact with things now?
I really think we do. The reason I say that is from my own experiences, having anywhere from lawyers, architects, structural engineers, all of these types of people are, there's a lot of education in Ottawa. So a lot of people are very white collar, hands off, but there's this love for, and this innate human want to use things that you've made of your own and the satisfaction that you get. I use the example just to highlight the value of making something for yourself. So yes, very quickly, yes, people want to make things, but I think if you dig deep on that, it's not just the process of tuning out and detaching, it's that real great feeling you have when, for an example of mine, my sister asked for the specific cutting board, and then I went to her house and she made a platter of charcuterie, and then she served it on the thing that I had given her, a year ago for her birthday. And it's just a really cool feeling to be using that thing. The same idea, this architect, he made a chair, and now he sits in that every day and sips his coffee, and it's so much more satisfying. If you walk into somebody's house and it's, you ask them about the table and they're like, oh yeah, I bought it at IKEA, end of story. Right? But if you go, hey, I love this table, where did you get it? And you're like, oh, I made it myself. You are now having a half an hour long conversation. How did you get there? Where did you do it?
Right.
So it's that storytelling piece, and it's that satisfaction that you get.
And I think it's adding like meaning to your life,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Packing meaning into even like the, you know, inanimate objects like a table.
Exactly.
But, you know, it's a sense of ownership and
Yep.
pride of ownership. That's why they say, you know, what's the difference between owning a home and renting one? It's the pride of ownership.
It
So
is.
maybe that's what we're talking about with that a little bit.
Absolutely. I would definitely agree with the pride of ownership thing. Absolutely.
So we got chatting a little while ago about the possibility of doing something together with Youth Ottawa and Algonquin College.
Yes.
I met Kevin Holmes a number of months ago, and we chatted, and you know he introduced us. But we're talking about something that could be very exciting, which is kind of like a mobile youth film festival.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm just curious. Like I know we've talked a little bit, you know, off camera, but what's your vision of kind of realizing that? What do you think is exciting about that concept?
So I think really, you know, you brought this in, Jesse, which was the mentorship piece. So first of all, you know, running a low budget or $0, let's say, for the spin, to make a film, it's possible now. To make a film, I'm talking to really make a film with a phone. You can do it.
Yeah.
The one caveat I will say is that when you show up with a very small camera, if you're working for a client, they actually will give you less respect, I've found.
Yeah.
So if you show up with something very tiny and you try to, you know, say, hey, I'm going to make you a professional video off this little thing, they're like, are you sure you can do that? So, but knowing how to talk through that and use technical terms is what you need to know to be able to overcome those humps
Right.
and show them a good product, get
Right.
a portfolio. So this video concept of really making a film festival that can move around, that can highlight the work, is about access. So it's about saying you don't need a red camera to be able to shoot an awesome film.
Yeah.
You can do something on your cell phone and you can get really good with editing. You can get some gimbals that are cheap. You can 3D print parts and make them better. And all of those types of things are going to benefit the new user, the people that are coming in. So it's about creating a less of a barrier to access to start.
Yep.
Say, I just want to get in here. It's about bridging those gaps between younger people and mid-level people, and then even greater
Right.
people who are professionals
Right.
that are all sort of get them working together, hopefully. And then sharing ideas, building that, and then making content. Everybody needs video these
Yeah,
days, you
yeah.
know? So if you can say you've made a couple videos and have a portfolio piece, you can go out and get jobs. And I think that is going to really help and help, you know, pad the pockets and get them the equipment.
Yeah.
So they need that starter
Right.
to be able to get into it. And then on top of that, you need the experience and the excitement of what it is to hopefully one day walk a red carpet or you know,
Right.
do something amazing like that. And keep, like, visualization for those that can is incredible. And if you've lived an experience that's, you know, even close to it, you get that much closer to gaining that feeling
Yeah.
and striving for something. And that's what keeps you motivated every day. That's what you jump
I
out
love
of bed
I
for,
love that.
right?
I think that's awesome. And Nick's here helping us, right? That's like good advice for you, right? Because somebody that's just entering the video and kind of production space and you know, something like that would just be another incentive for people to get involved, maybe
Right.
to even just try their first film, get it out there,
Absolutely.
right? Because it becomes easier as you know, practice, and
Right.
practice makes perfect. So I think an event like that would be great, and not to mention we need more filmmaking community events.
Yes, bridging. We
yeah.
need to find each other more
That's
easily,
right.
And share skills. I know audio skills are, you know, the last looked at thing,
Right.
and sometimes some of the most important. People say a lot of the time that, well, it's just a common thing is that if you can watch a low quality video. If the video is low quality,
That's okay.
But if the
Yeah.
audio is low quality, you will turn that off because you will get annoyed.
Right.
Our auditory, sensory intake, it's really
Very
finicky.
picky.
It's very picky, yeah.
Right.
It's very, very picky compared to video.
Right.
Yeah.
So you said you're also a musician.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you play drums.
I've played drums since I was 11. I'm currently over 30. So let's just say it that
Yeah,
way. So yeah, I've had a lot of experience, and that has led me through, I think, being a musician, getting good at something. I'm using air quotes right now because I don't want to, say I'm absolutely good at something, but
You're not John Bonham yet.
It took me from being incredibly shy. Yeah, I'm not John Bonham, absolutely not. From being incredibly shy individual in like middle school
Right.
to being outgoing, talking to everyone, because I gained this confidence so less about being a musician, but more just about find something that you are passionate about and that you can lead others in. And when you start to do that, you gain this confidence that it just grows for your entire life. So I will say that to anyone. It doesn't have to be music, but for me it was music. Yeah. And getting good at the drums allowed me to then feel like I had an opinion that mattered about anything else. Really, it's a very strange concept, but
it transferred to other stuff.
Hey, I know about something, and people ask me things now about that stuff. So maybe they value other opinions that I might have, and maybe I'm not just going to keep it all in and share. And I think I wouldn't be where I am today if I had never experienced that and learned that and done that.
I agree. I think that's, for me, it was sports. I was, sports, being good at something like that made it less important to be good at everything else. Yeah. Which, is that confidence that you're talking about, right?
Yeah. And you can be bad at everything else, and that's really important. I talk about, one time, I will talk about being bad at something as well as being bad at something. So one time, I decided I was going to start a podcast, a YouTube channel, that was called Bad Matt. So I just wanted to be bad at things on video, like get my friend who can do a backflip and have him do an awesome backflip and then watch me fail for another 20 seconds or so. And then there you go, load that video. And then that would motivate me to learn how hard everything that people do is. Because when you gain their experience, you can understand it better, and you can then live a better experience yourself and communicate better with those people. So I didn't make that channel because making a channel entirely on your own with barely any budget was really hard. So I needed basically this $0 filmmaking club to help me, because I would have actually succeeded at that, I think, if that had existed and I had a community to work with, because it was just me learning on my own. This is a long time ago. It was just me learning on my own, trying. And so Bad Matt was, it was actually bad, and I didn't complete it. I made 2 episodes. And
Bad Matt. Yeah. Maybe that'll
maybe it'll
put
come
that
to
on
be.
The board at the
I'll
the
put
lab.
it on the board. Yeah. So it is fun to try, and it's really important to try, even if you know that you're not going to be good at something, but do it anyway. Right. Because people get scared of that, right?
Yeah, I agree.
That's the way you learn. So.
I think always trying to be outside of your comfort zone is good things happen, right?
They call it the little magic space. There's the 2 circles and comfort zone, and then there's a little bit one that's outside, and that's where the magic happens. Right. Yeah.
Okay, so now comes the time where we're going to do a little gag, or a little movie trivia. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to name 5 movies that this actor or actress has been in.
I'm not going to do.
Think you can do this?
No, absolutely not.
I'll give you like the easiest one possible on my list. Okay?
No, give me a hard one so that when I don't do well, it's okay.
No, I'm not gonna do that to you. All right, so here we go. Now this guy's been in everything.
Okay.
It's an actor.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go.
To be Bad Matt.
Yeah, this is your first segment.
This is the first segment. Awesome, let's do it.
Okay, so 1 minute to name 5 movies that Samuel L. Jackson has been in. And go.
Snakes on a Plane?
Yes.
What am I thinking of right now? Snakes on a Plane. That's a recent one. Come on.
Not that recent.
Well, yeah, right. No, sorry. I said I was old, right? Snakes on a Plane is what I got. Quentin Tarantino film. Why can I not think of it right now? It's killing me.
He's been in a few of his, actually.
Yes, exactly.
You probably could just name any one of Quentin Tarantino's movies. And
I'll just say Quentin Tarantino films. He's in them.
Can we count that, Nick? I don't know. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
He's a stickler.
Count as one, all right.
20 seconds.
No, I'm failing here. I'm going to...
Yeah, just back out. Okay.
I'm tapping out. I'm not good with names.
Matt taps out. So we've got, let's see here. We'll just bring up. He was definitely in True Romance, which was written by Tarantino, but directed by Scott, John, was it? Ridley Scott's brother, John, I believe. Right. I should get you to look that up. Pulp Fiction he was in, yeah.
He was in Star Wars.
He was, too, the newest one.
The third one, yeah.
The third.
Samuel.
Oh, man. Star Wars, I actually should have just said movies. Like any movie.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction, Avengers.
Avengers.
Inglourious Bastards, the Django Unchained, The Incredibles 2, Hateful Eight, Jurassic Park. Is he in the Jurassic Park?
Is he?
The original?
What list is this from? No, maybe he is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm struggling to remember that.
Iron Man.
He's an Iron Man?
Die Hard 2.
Wow, I haven't seen
Yeah.
half of the movies you're saying right now. I
So-
know of them, but I haven't watched them.
Anyways, so he's been in a lot of stuff, as we know.
That's
but-
yeah, he's been in tons of stuff. So okay, well, I learned something today.
right, right.
And when you fail, you learn something, and if you don't, then that's the only time I'm going to call it a failure.
Right.
If you don't learn something, right?
So what? Tell me a little bit, like, what else do you have on the go right now? Maybe talk about. Well, first off, like, what's the rest of your kind of winter looking like, leading
Yeah.
into spring, and then follow up with kind of what's the coolest thing that's come out of the Makerspace so far, in your opinion?
Got it. I can do this. So what's coming up, I'm focused really heavily right now. Algonquin College in the Applied Research Office has an event. It's called Reaction. It's an applied research showcase. So it puts research into action, meaning we have been doing research for the past 4, 8 months, 12 months, different projects, different lengths. And now on April 12th, between 9 and 2, there's basically a giant showcase with 100 projects of applied research. And so these are not diagrams, these are real functioning robots. These are like amazing things. Really, really cool stuff happening. And basically, and then there's website creation, all kinds of stuff. But there's over 100 projects. They're all registering right now. So these are usually done with industry partners too. So again, that's on April 12th, and I'm really always excited about that. Before the Makerspace existed, that was literally the reason I had my job, because
Right.
it was the best day. It was so exciting. We do 3 a year. So that's like a really big on my radar right now, really working towards promotion of that, getting
Right.
people signed up. We usually have about 400 people visit, and we have keynote speakers. So Erin Blasky from LSpark, she is the director of marketing right now, and she's going to be coming to be our keynote speaker. So she's going to talk about discovery, because that's the theme for Reaction, and it's, students have discovered what they're capable of over this research project. The industry and the government people discover new ideas, technologies, and what is
talent.
possible, and talent. Thank
Yeah.
you for saying that. I hate to plug Algonquin Talent, but there's super talented people over there
Right.
doing amazing work. So that's the biggest thing on my radar that we're working on right now.
Now, are the students that are putting forth these projects, are they like kind of senior students? They're graduating
Depends.
soon?
Multi-level. So usually they're multidisciplinary teams if they're something called a standalone project. So that's outside of the classroom, and they're getting paid, which is awesome to give people paid research for an industry client before they graduate. That always happens after, but before they graduate.
Sometimes not at all.
Sometimes not at all, yeah. So it's very, very interesting to know that we're doing that. And then it's multi-tiered. So sometimes there'll be a first-year student that's learning from the others. Again, it's this sort of mentorship piece. You need to have the heavy hitters that know how to really, really do the work. But again, it's research, so there's no guaranteed outcomes. You may not know exactly the coding language that is required for this project, but you know 3 others. So the first week is discovery. You go and you find out and you research and you say, okay, this is our discovery phase. We need to know everything we can find out about XML, because we need to use that, because that's what the client wants. So it's very, very industry-led, which is very important in a college setting, to have the students be able to hit the ground with value, as opposed to, hey, we're going to need to coach them for the first 6 months.
Yeah, it's like a student says, like, this is what I do, this is my skill set, and they're like, well, we don't need any of that, we need you to do this.
Exactly.
And
then you did ask about the Makerspace and the exciting sort of projects that are coming out of there. So we have a highlight called the Maker Minute that you can start to look out for coming in April. We're launching that campaign later. And that's going to be just a 1 quick minute video on our website, the Applied Research website, about a student and the projects they've made. The most recent one I filmed with Stephen Gagne was, her name was Sophie, and she did an architectural design for a staircase, and she 3D printed and laser cut all the parts, and it looks amazing. So I look forward to everyone being able to check that out when it comes in April. And then there's two really cool projects. One is almost impossible to describe. So basically what it is something called a lithophane. It's an it's an older technology that used to be done with ceramics, but with the help of the internet, we have, standing on the shoulders of giants, basically been able to create this 3D printed from a photograph or a still that's grayscale. So there's thicknesses associated through the white, and when you hold it up to a light, it's 255, which is the number of digital, the versions of color on a digital screen. And then you end up with a thickness based on so if you have a 2 millimeter pane, let's say, then you end up with that divided by 255 equals each thickness is this very precise layer. And then when you hold it up to the light, it looks like the photograph. You can see it in black and white.
No
it's
kidding.
amazing.
That sounds amazing.
I would love for you guys to be able to see it, but you have to come to the Makerspace to check it out.
Well, that's not a problem. I'm going there.
Yeah,
for
awesome.
Sure.
So
we're going to book that.
Well, I'll show you what that is. And then the other thing that I can describe very easily is this sort of, I have this bold idea to have something called the 10,000 Snowflake Project. So one day I was, reminiscing about, you're all a bunch of beautiful snowflakes, and that, line in your head, right? We've all been told if we're millennial, then we've all been told we were a beautiful snowflake at one point or another. And so I went, you know what, how could we make a snowflake that's unique for each individual for the entire world? Like, would that be possible? Could we, and how would that work, and how would you discern it? So what we did was, I asked the guys in the Makerspace, and this is a great example of what happens in the Makerspace and how quickly it can happen, is that I said, hey, I have this crazy idea where I want to make snowflakes. Can you do that? And Davis, one of the technicians in the space, went, oh yeah, I can make a parametric design. I said, what's a parametric design? I have no idea. So basically what that is, instead of a value of saying the value, like it is 5, you say length equals, and then a number. And that's a very basic example of a line. So then you could punch in any number and that line would change.
Sure.
So what we did was we made that for a snowflake. So there's the number of vertices on the snowflake. There's the length of the main arm branch, the side arm branches, the angle of what they turn, and all of those are parametric, so you can put in a new value and see something cool. So you could get up to 7 to 8 billion, which would cover the world. I was like, Davis, can you do this? He did that before 2 a.m. of the same day that I had asked him to do it. He was like so excited that he got that done by 2 a.m.
Some sort of random number generator?
Yeah, so it wasn't even a random number generation. It was so you could input. So that was half the idea, was that you could just punch in something. The other half of the idea was that we wanted it to be significant to people and not just like, I want 10 sides and I want this and randomly choosing, because people, yes, would have their own unique, but you could choose the same one. So we decided to do, with the help of Steven again, who I'm mentioning, was make it based on a significant date to you. So an anniversary, a birthday, a future date, your favorite movie launch, like anything. And he wrote a script in JavaScript that would take those, turn them into bits, and then pump out the different parameters that we had set. So in combination between my idea, me doing very little work, and them doing a whole lot of work, and I'm going to be super honest.
You just Steve Jobbed it.
Pretty much, pretty much, yeah. And actually, a few people have made that analysis, so that's interesting. Like, yeah, you just had the idea, and then you walked away. I was like, I'm sorry. But they were very excited. So within a week from this concept idea, we were touring Ottawa Carleton District School Board kids through and showing them and having them make their own snowflake.
Very cool.
And now we want to have 10,000, and by next December, so we have a lofty goal of 10,000, and then hang them in our main Dare District area for the December/winterlude sort of time.
That would
frame.
look great.
So it spells out diversity because every snowflake is different. You can go find yours, and it would just look awesome to have a huge art installation hanging for a month or so. So yeah, that's my.
So you're working on some pretty cool stuff there.
Very fun stuff. Very fun stuff.
And do you have any time to play drums in your spare time?
Drums are still not.
Are you in a band right now?
I am not in a band right now,
okay.
so we can talk about that.
Nick plays piano.
Nice.
I play a little
Let's
bit
do
of
it.
guitar. I dabble.
You guys need a theme song?
We do, yeah.
Yeah, let's work
write
on
one.
it.
A jingle.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so the Applied event is April 12th.
April 12th,
12th,
Reaction.
Okay. Reaction.
Yes,
Yep.
thank you. It's Reaction, the Applied Research Showcase. So basically, yeah, on April 12th, I'm very excited to be there. We got keynote speakers, over 100 projects. It's going to be awesome.
And we're talking about maybe getting Hot Shoe involved, getting some shooters
and
there.
actually, you guys are going to be filming.
So that's
Thank
great.
you for pointing that out. So.
Absolutely. I know that our youth workers are already really pumped because, like I mentioned, I think on an email, the fact that they get to go into the university, see these cool projects, and also be working and getting paid doing it.
It's amazing.
So it's a win-win-win, right? Yeah. So you've got that going on. The snowflakes thing, we'll definitely need an update around Christmas. We'll get you back on the show.
Absolutely, we'll see.
Thanks for being the guest, man. You're the first guest of the Youth Ottawa podcast.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure, and maybe I can find some more guests and we can get this rolling.
Yeah,
I'd
we
love
should.
it, yeah.
We should. I want to promote just one of the events that we have coming up at Youth Ottawa. We have submissions that are now open to nominate remarkable youth in the community. There's a bunch of different categories. You can go to youthottawa.ca to see all the different categories.
Oh, wow.
There are some scholarships and some cash prizes for the winners there, and we always do it down at City Hall. It's a big event, so we want to get more people down to that event, and we'll have more information about that. But if you know a youth in Ottawa that is doing amazing things, go to the youthottawa.ca website, check that out. Matthew, I think that's time for us.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jesse.
Anything else you wanna say before we tune out here?
You know what? I think the one thing I want to follow with is to everyone out there, yes, you can.
Nice. Good words from Matthew Jerabek.
Welcome to the Hot Box, a soapbox for hot topics.